There are some new faces in the room as far as extension educators, but I want to say thank you to the extension educators that serve this area, particularly those new ones that are with us. So all extension educators from the Bighorn and Wind River Basin, could you raise your hand so the folks in here know who you are? Yes, that would be you, Caitlin. So if you have questions in your areas, in the towns that you come from, these are your points of contact. And those questions are relayed to the researchers, and the whole process completes itself when the researchers then produce something like today, where you can see where your question is being addressed. So, along those lines, I have a couple of announcements regarding sponsorship. I think there's a sign above the door here somewhere. There's one that's missing off there. Gas to Go also is a contributor. So we just want to say thank you to all the sponsors. One other point of business that I want to touch on is, and Dean Gailey mentioned this, is your feedback. When you registered, you should have received a little survey card. Please make sure to turn those in. And if you would do me one more favor, there is not a question on here that we'd really like to know the answer to. So on the back, if you could write how you learned about the field day. What was the method that you heard about the field day, mouth to mouth, if you heard it on the radio. I understood it was on the radio a couple times recently. Newspaper, flyers, etc. All forms that you heard about it, we would really like to know how we're getting the word out and most effectively. Okay, back to the field day and the business. The field days are held basically to, as I've already alluded to give you an idea of some of the activities that are being conducted on here, and I'll let you know that these activities are not always formed in a vacuum. They're not just dreams that the scientists come up with in the middle of the night. We have an advisory board that provides us input, and we try to address some of the prominent issues that the advisory board brings up. Along those lines, our advisory board chair is standing over here, Kelly Spearing. If you don't get a chance to talk to one of us, Kelly, would you raise your hand? And you have ideas about some of the research or some of the other activities that you think might be helpful for the Powell R&D Center to work on, contact Kelly. I can guarantee Kelly will let us know. And for those of you that know Kelly, you know what I mean. So today is going to be a combination of tours. Along those tours, it's going to be just a brief introduction to the projects. We'll end the day back here, and if you have a lot more detailed questions, visit the posters. The posters are set up that are the same type of projects that you see out in the field. I'm holding this book up, and I keep putting it out there because it's important. What we try to do is, in an effort to disseminate the information for folks that can't be at our field day, we prepare a field days bulletin. And the projects that you'll see today are all summarized in this field days bulletin. What we've done this year to this field days bulletin is a little different than what we've done in the past. First, we have two different types of formats. We have a very short format, particularly for projects that are just beginning. There may not be much information on them already. So you'll see maybe a one-column description of an experiment, maybe why it's important that that experiment is being conducted. Then you'll see a longer format, a two-page format. That two-page format may include some important results, but it is not intended to be a complete description and report on the study. It's just to highlight the importance of the study, some important results, contact information for all those investigators are included in both the short as well as the two-page format. So if you have additional questions for them, you can always contact those investigators. One other change, at the bottom of each one of those reports, you'll notice some numbers. Those numbers correspond to an outline that's in the appendix. That appendix includes the production ag research priorities. Those production ag research priorities were developed through a combination of advisory board input, and then we took that input and we enlisted the help of an individual that's key here. I know he's here somewhere. Ron Pulley, are you around somewhere? Ron's in the far back. So if you received a letter from Ron that said, here, would you please give me some feedback on these priorities? That's the individual that you got that letter from. We took that input and then developed the production ag research priorities. And then we continued to get input by holding a series of listening sessions, and we will continue to revise according to some of those listening sessions. What you see is now in the field-based bulletin is we're beginning to link the activities to those priorities, and that's what those Roman numerals are for. If you have ideas about items that are not addressed in that production ag research priorities list, let us know. Our email address is on there. Again, we view this as kind of a living document, so we're always looking for additional input, and this is our opportunity to address producer issues.